English translation will be done by dear Digit, but we'll make another separate announcement again. Thank you. You can start, dear Shika. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Yogasya Lakshanam Vakshe Sabhijasya Napratmaje. Mano Yenaiva Vidhina Prasannam Yati Satpatam.
The personality of Godhead said, "My dear mother, O daughter of the king, now I shall explain to you the system of yoga, the object of which is to concentrate the mind. By practicing this system, one can become joyful and progressively advance towards the path of the absolute truth." Hare Krishna.
Sadharmacharanam saktya vidharmacha nivartanam Daiva labdhena santosha atma vicharanarcharam.
One should execute his prescribed duties to the best of his ability and avoid performing duties not allotted to him. One shouldn't be satisfied with as much as gain as he achieves by the grace of the Lord, and one should worship the lotus feet of a spiritual master.
Gramya dharna nivrittischa moksha dharmaratistata mita medyadanam shashvad viviktakshema sevanam.
One should cease performing conventional religious practice, should be attracted to those which lead to salvation. One should eat very frugally and should always remain secluded so that he can achieve the highest perfection of life.
Ahimsa satyamasteyam yavardata parigraha brahmacharyam tapasaucham svadhyaya purusarchanam.
One should practice non-violence and truthfulness, should avoid thieving and be satisfied with possession as much as he needs for his maintenance. He should abstain. Oh, I lost it. Thank you. He should abstain from sex life, perform austerity, be clean, study the Vedas, and worship the supreme form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Maunam sattasana jaya stairyam pranajaya sanai pratyaharaschendriyanam vishayan manasahri.
One must observe silence, acquire steadiness by practicing different yogic postures, control the breathing of the vital air, withdraw the... Mataji, can you go up, please? Thank you. Withdraw the senses from sense objects and thus concentrate the mind on the heart.
Swadesyaname kadeshe manasa pranataranam vaikuntalila bhityanam samadhanam tatatmanaha.
Fixing the vital air and the mind in one of the 6 circles of vital air circulation within the body, thus concentrating one's mind on the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is called samadhi or samadhana of the mind.
Eteiranyeshcha patibirmanodustam asatpatam buddhya yunjita sanakaijita prano hyatandritaha.
By these processes or any other true process, one must control the contaminated, unbridled mind, which is always attracted by material enjoyment, and thus fix himself in thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Suchau dese pratistapya vichitasanāsanam tasmin svasti samasina rujukaya samapyaset.
After controlling one's mind and sitting posture, one should spread a seat in a secluded and sanctified place. Sit there in an easy posture, keeping the body erect, and practice breath control. Breathe control.
प्राणस्य शोधयेन्मार्गं पुरुकुम्भकरेचकैः प्रतिकूलेन वाचितं यथा स्थिरम् अचञ्चलम्.
One yogi should clear the passage of vital air by breathing in the following manner. First, he should inhale very deeply, then hold the breath in, and finally exhale, or reversing the process. The yogi can first exhale, then hold the breath outside, and finally inhale. This is done so that the mind may become steady and free from external disturbances.
मनोचिरात् स्याद्विरजं चित्तश्वासस्य योगिनः वैवज्ञाभ्यां यथालोक्यं मातं त्यजति वैमलम्.
The yogis who practice such breathing exercise are very soon freed from all material disturbances, just as gold, when put into fire and fanned with air, becomes free from all impurities.
प्राणायामेतहेद्दोषान् धरानाभिश्च किल्बिषान् प्रत्याहारेण संसर्गान् ध्यानेनानीश्वरान् गुणान्.
By practicing the process of pranayama, one can eradicate the contamination of his physiological condition, and by concentrating the mind, one can become free from all sinful activities. By restraining the senses, one can free himself from material association, and by meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can become free from three modes of material attachment.
यदा मानस्त्वं विरजं योगेन सुसमाहितं कास्तां भगवतो ध्यायेत् स्वनासाग्रावलोकनः.
When the mind is perfectly purified by this practice of yoga, one should concentrate on the tip of the nose with half closed eyes and see the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
प्रसन्नवदनाम्बोजं पद्मगर्भरुणेक्षणं नीलोत्पलदलश्यामं शङ्खचक्रगदाधरम्.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead has a cheerful, lotus-like countenance with ruddy eyes like the interior of a lotus and a swarthy body like the petals of a blue lotus. He bears a conch, discus, and mace in three of his hands.
लसत्पङ्कजकिञ्जल्का पीतकौसेयवाससं श्रीवत्सवक्षसम्भ्राजत् कौस्तुभौमुक्तकन्दरम्.
His loins are covered by a shining cloth, yellowish like the filaments of a lotus. On his breast he bears the mark of Srivatsa, a curl of white hair. The brilliant Kustava gem is suspended from his neck.
मताद्विरेपकलया परीतं वनमालया पराध्याहारवलया किरीटान् गदनूपुरम्.
He also wears around his neck a garland of attractive sylvan flowers and a swarm of bees intoxicated by its delicious fragrance hums about the garland. He is further superbly adorned with a pearl necklace, a crown, and pairs of armlets, bracelets, and anklets. Thank you, Mataji. Please forgive me for my mistake. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for the beautiful recitations, Mitali Mataji and Shrikar. Beautiful recitations. Hari Bol. So we'll just wait for Prabhuji to join the class. Krishna Govinda Prabhuji. Are you there, Prabhuji?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Thank you. Please
Yeah,
accept my
I
humble
do.
obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you.
Jai, thank you. Hare Krishna, everyone. Please take some humble obeisances of glories to Srila Prabhupada and glories to Guru Maharaj. I have to apologize today because the notes I made was for next week's verses. I must have misread the note on the WhatsApp message. So I'm going to need all of your help to support me for today's class, if that's okay with you, because I'm not a very good speaker anyway, as it is. So once again, the verses that we're reading today, I'll just quickly get that, just to confirm, it is 13, 17, and 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay. Okay, Om Namo Bhagavat. Oh, sorry, I forgot to share the screen. Just let me know you can see the screen as well. Yeah.
Yes, we can, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayan Namaskripcha Naram Chaiva Narotanam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayavadiraye Nashtashu Bhadrashu Nitya Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavata Mutam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki. Okay, so today we're going to be reading from Canto 3, Srimad Bhagavatam, Status Quo, Chapter 28, Kapila's Instructions on the Execution of Devotional Service. Today is the 10th of May, 2026, verse number 13. Vasana Vadana Bhujam Padma Kava Tur Reniksanam Nilotpalatalat Shamam Sanka Chakra Gadadaram. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has a cheerful lotus-like countenance with ruddy eyes like the interior of a lotus and a swarthy body like the petals of a blue lotus. He bears a conch, discus, and mace in 3 of his hands. Prabhupada, by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Ki Jai. It is definitely recommended herein that one concentrate his mind upon the form of Vishnu. There are 12 different forms of Vishnu, which are described in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. One cannot concentrate his mind on anything void or impersonal. The mind should be fixed on the personal form of the Lord, whose attitude is cheerful, as described in this verse. Bhagavad Gita states that meditation on the impersonal or void features is very troublesome to the meditator. Those who are attached to the impersonal or void features of meditation have to undergo a difficult process because we are not accustomed to concentrating our minds upon anything impersonal. Actually, such concentration is not even possible. Bhagavad Gita also confirms that one should concentrate his mind on the personality of Godhead. The color of the personality of Godhead, Krishna, is described here as Nilotpala Dala, meaning that it is like that of a lotus flower with petals tinted blue and white. People always ask why Krishna is blue. The color of the Lord has not been imagined by an artist. It is described in authoritative scripture. In the Brahma Samhita also, the color of Krishna's body is compared to that of a bluish cloud. The color of the Lord is not poetical imagination. There are authoritative descriptions in the Brahma Samhita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and many of the Puranas of the Lord's body, his weapons, and all other paraphernalia. The Lord's appearance is described here are Padma Garbha Rudikshanam. His eyes resemble the inside of a lotus flower. In his 4 hands, he holds the 4 symbols: conch shell, discus, mace, and lotus. So the translation once again. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has a cheerful lotus-like countenance with ruddy eyes like the interior of a lotus, and a swarthy body like the petals of a blue lotus. He bears a conch, discus, and a mace in 3 of his hands. So Just recite the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Jnana Timrandasya Jnana Jana Shalakaya Chakshurmalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mayan Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sargana Lalita Shiva Shakamitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namustate Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabharasata Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakapataru Vyascha Kripa Sindhuvya Vacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this particular chapter from this canto 3, chapter 28, Kapila's instructions on the execution of devotional service. So in this particular chapter, Kapila Dev is telling Devahuti about the process of meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He mentions about the importance about withdrawing one's senses and completely focusing on one's life on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In doing so, then they can be free from all material desires and material senses, from the different objects that's always accumulating in our mind, our thoughts, our actions. And by meditating on the Supreme Lord, he describes really in a nice, poetic way, in a systematic way, how you should meditate on the Supreme Lord. First of all, he mentions about meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord. Now, from the verses the two devotees recited earlier on, does anybody know what the lotus feet actually represents? And what way does it act?
Like a lotus? No, sorry, soft.
It's soft, definitely. But there's a particular word they used, thunderbolt. Does anybody know why the Lord's lotus feet acts like a thunderbolt? It was not in this purport, but it's one of the translation of the verses that you would have read. Okay, so the thunderbolt, the Lord's lotus feet, when you meditate on the lotus feet, of course, is soft, very, very, it's like a shelter of the whole universe. I mean, can you imagine Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is no other than the Supreme Lord, Krishna and Radharani combined? This is the avatari of Radha and Krishna combined. And in the Shikshastika prayers, he actually mentions, Ayi Nanda Tanuja Kinkara Patita Ma Vishame Bhavo Buddha Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Dulimam Sandrishyam Vinchintaya. Oh my Lord, somehow or another I've fallen into this ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as an atom at your lotus feet. Now, can you imagine the Supreme Personality of Godhead? He is the control of the whole cosmic manifestation, not just the material universe, the spiritual universe, everything evolves around the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There's nothing that is possible that could actually function without the Supreme Lord. But yet, the humility of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually saying, please allow me to be an atom at his own lotus feet. I mean, of course, we recite these verses day in and day out, but do we really fully understand? Anyway, for me, do I really fully understand what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying? He's the Supreme Personality of God, and yet he's asking the Supreme Lord, please allow me to be an atom at his own lotus feet in a way. So can you imagine what pride we have, my pride, thinking I'm doing this service, I'm doing that service, I'm doing a chat, I'm facilitating, I'm trying to be very proud, speaking about the Srimad Bhagavatam topics, but actually we're so insignificant. It's like a tiny ant compared to this big mountain. So the idea of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, not only is it a shelter of every personality in this material world, every living entity, every species of life, whether it be an aquatic, birds, animals, mammals, humans, plant species, herb species, or the different variety of life itself. So I just got to make sure you can hear me okay. There. Sorry, this little tech error. So the meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord acts like a thunderbolt. Why? Because a thunderbolt actually shatters all the accumulated sins that's built up in our mind. It's like a mountain of sins. Every time, even if we are actually thinking that we're trying to be a devotee, if we want to pray, if we want to chant, if we want to do service, there's always some possibility of making offenses unknowingly or knowingly. And it's so important that we actually meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord so that it shatters the mountain of sins that's accumulated in our mind. Yeah. So, of course, the lotus feet is soft, as Mataji was saying, like a lotus, but it's also like a thunderbolt as well at the same time. Then the different ways that you meditate on the Supreme Lord, as Kapila Muni is advising devotee. Then you meditate on the knees and thighs. The knees and thighs are the support of the entire universe itself. So then he goes on to meditating on the waist and the chest of the Supreme Lord and Lord Vishnu. The idea is that when you're actually going into this state of trance, when you're actually doing this meditation, you sort of close your eyes, you sort of inhale and exhale slowly and hold your breath. If anybody has actually done yoga classes, they've probably gone through a lot of these yoga nidras as well, yoga exercises, where you breathe in 6 seconds and then hold it there for 6 seconds, then breathe out for 8 seconds, or you can do it the opposite way, breathe out for a few seconds and then breathe in again. And the idea is that you're controlling your mind, you're controlling your senses, you're controlling your breath of air as well at the same time. Then you meditate on the arms. The arms are considered to be the actual support for all the demigods. It's actually the power that gives the energy to all the demigods. If you can imagine all the demigods who are in charge by the mercy of the Supreme Lord, they're in charge of all the different elements around us. Mother Bhumi, she's in charge of Mother Earth. You've got Vayu, who's in charge of the wind. You've got Indradev, who's the king of heaven, but is also in charge of the different elements of weather as well, like the rain, the thunder, and so forth. You've got Varuna, who's the deity presiding the ocean itself. In this way, Vivishwan, who is the personality who provides the sun, the energy, the light, the heat to every living entities. So it's important that this energy, this Shakti is actually coming from the strength of the Supreme Personality's arms. Then he goes on about discussing about the face, meditating on this beautiful face, which is adorned by different kind of sharp-shaped earrings. And he has the description of the lotus eyes, the lotus smile as well. And I've probably mentioned this to you quite a few times. When you see the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whether it's in a picture or whether it's in a deity form, you always see him smiling, except for when Mother Yashoda is chastising him, and then you see him with puffed up lips. But when he's smiling, what does that indicate? That indication is when you're actually developing a love and devotion for the Supreme Lord, then it evaporates oceans and oceans of tears that have accumulated for many, many thousands of years. So every day we have some sort of emotion, we have some personal difficulties with our own self, with our own inability. Sometimes we also feel rejected or dejected because we don't feel like we're advancing in our spiritual life, even though we want to. But you shouldn't give up at all. You should still carry on, try and step at a time, step at a time, step at a time. Be in the association of devotees. Keep reading one verse every day. Offer a flower, fruit, some water to Krishna every day. understand that everything that the Supreme Lord provides to you is only by the will of the Supreme Lord's mercy. Even the Supreme Lord, although he's our master, is actually our supreme servant, if you can imagine. He provides the air that we can breathe. He provides the light that gives us energy, heat, and the ability to provide so much energy in different ways in our society. The water, I am the taste of water. Without water, we never feel refreshed, we'd never feel rejuvenated, we'd never feel that ability to sort of replenish our body in a certain way, even like watering the plants and watering all the things that require to stay alive. It can only be done by the supreme will of the Lord, providing this water to us. So when we actually meditate on the Supreme Lord's lotus smile, we're actually evaporating these oceans of tears, because every day we have some sort of anxiety, some distress. Could be happy tears, sad tears. And today, if you are in Snana Yatra today, the Yamuna Maharaj was given such a wonderful description of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he was feeling ecstatic love for Radha and Krishna, when he was seeing the beautiful form of Lord Jagannath. Now, can you imagine? He is the Supreme Lord himself, but when he sees himself as Lord Jagannath in the form of Lord Jagannath, the tears were flowing from his eyes. It wasn't just like trickle of water flowing out from his eyes like teardrops, but they were like syringes of water squirted out. Like most of you have probably played Holly, where you've used a water gun and you squirted colored water to your friends, family, neighbors, children, parents. The water was just squirted out like a syringe from his eyes. But we have those tears as well, but sometimes due to our inability to actually feel any devotion or any love for Krishna is suppressed in so many ways because of all the different, I suppose, the three modes of material nature suppressed in us: goodness, passion, ignorance, the enemies within us: anger, lust, greed, pride, envy, illusion, jealousy, hatred. So many things that are actually clouding our heart, which is supposed to be pure by nature, with that propensity in our original constitutional position of serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when our soul is identical with the Supreme Lord, without any covering, just like the sun is covered by the cloud, all these anathas are covering our heart as well. So here it mentions about the 4 different items that the Lord actually holds in his hands. Now, the conch, does anybody know the spiritual or Sanskrit name for the conch? Panchajanya? Panchajanya? I think that's the right pronunciation.
That's Krishna's conch, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And discus, does anybody know the Sanskrit word for the discus? Or the Sudarshan Chakra? Oops, I said it. Okay, what is Krishna's discus name? Just told you.
Yes, Sudarshan Chakra.
Well done, 10 out of 10 for you, Mataji.
Already
And
gave the answer.
And the mace?
Gada.
Nearly. That is also like the name of the mace, but there's a specific spiritual personality for the name of the mace, and is very, very dear to Krishna, to Lord Vishnu. Starts with a K. Komadaki. Yeah. So the Komadaki is actually considered to be very dear to Krishna because it's a weapon that's actually used to defeat and kill the demons. These demons, when they're actually killed, the blood is actually smeared on the mace Komadaki itself. And in one of the purpose that Srila Prabhupada mentions later on, he mentions that it's almost like clean water is actually muddied by mud itself, or being polluted by mud. So the mace is pure by nature, the Komadaki is pure by nature, but when Krishna uses it to kill the demons, it's actually smeared with the blood of the demons, and it's become muddied as well. Now the discus, Sudarshan Chakra, has, sometimes it describes it as 1,000 spokes. Other places it actually describes it 108 spokes. Just looking at the time. So just briefly, I just wanted to share, this is a deity of Lord Sudarshan Chakra. So some of you may have seen this symbol. You see the star at the back. It's almost like the Star of David, similar to Judaism. The triangle going upwards is representing Purusha, and the triangle going downwards behind Sudarshan Chakra represents Prakriti. So Purusha and Prakriti. So together, combined together is the Mahapurusha. And here you have the deity of Sudarshan Chakra. So if you've been to like places like ISKCON temple in say New Rajadam, which is in Hungary, they have a beautiful shrine there, beautiful altar of Lord Nrsimhadev, and above that they have Sudarshan Chakra as well. Perhaps not above, anyway, on the platform of the altar, they have Sudarshan Chakra, similar to this symbol, and then they also have Lord Nrsimhadev. Now, there's a beautiful story. Does anybody know the story of where Lord Krishna picked up the chariot wheel to attack who on the battlefield of Kurukshetra?
Bhishmadev.
Yes. Why did he attack Bhishmadev?
He did not attack Bhishmadev actually. Because Bhishmadev was fighting, was going to kind of kill Arjuna, but he picked the chakra, the wheel of the broken chariot, just to keep the words of Bhishmadev, because Bhishmadev vowed that I will make you lift a weapon. Krishna has vowed not to lift a weapon on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, but Bhishmadev has taken the vow that yes, I will make you lift a weapon. That's how Krishna had to keep the words of his pure devotees.
Yeah, very good. That's exactly it. So Bhaktavatsalya, that was the prayer by Bhishmadev that I will make sure that you will actually lift a weapon on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. But as Mataji mentioned, Krishna actually vowed that he will never take sides, or not rather take sides, he will not pick up any weapon during the battlefield of Kurukshetra, but he was there all the time protecting the Pandavas and particularly Arjuna. You may recall the time when Arjuna was about to step off the chariot at the end of the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and Krishna said, no, let me, you get off first, and then let me get off afterwards. And then Arjuna got off the chariot, and then when Krishna got off, the chariot burned into ashes, and Arjuna was thinking, what's going on? What's happened? How's it disintegrated into ashes? How come it's burnt into flames? And Krishna actually explained that because all this time I was protecting you while all these powerful weapons were being shot at you, you would have been destroyed, but I protected you. And these arrows, the chariot was actually a protector as well for your life. So yes, this wheel, I was just reading it up earlier on, this wheel, this chariot wheel, broken chariot wheel, which Krishna is picking up, just ready to have or attack Bhishmadev, but Arjuna's kindly holding Krishna back. This is such a beautiful picture, such a lovely picture, because it's actually showing, on one hand, you have Arjuna, who's a pure friend of Krishna, and on the other hand, Bhishmadev is actually a pure devotee. He's one of the Mahajans as well, one of the 12 Mahajans. Yet Krishna is attacking his own devotee. Why? Because he's actually showing the consequence of when a devotee makes an offense to another devotee. Now, this wheel, which I was going to go on to, was the main point. This is also a representation of the Sudarshan Chakra. So when I was reading this, it mentioned about the Sudarshan Chakra in relation to this particular wheel, which Krishna is carried to attack Bhishmadev. Now, just for time, I was just going to share. I'll just quickly, I'll tell you what I'll do. If I do get time at the end, I'll just ask somebody to read this beautiful story of Devasha Muni, when his life is spared by the Sudarshan Chakra, which was said by Lord Vishnu because he offended Ambarish, Maharaj Ambarish. Such a beautiful story, and we can learn so many beautiful lessons from there. So I'm going to the next verse, text 14. Dasa pankaja kinchalka pita koyesha vasasam srivatsa vakshasam prajat goshtabhu mukta gandaram. His loins are covered by shining cloth, yellowish like the filaments of a lotus. On his breast he bears the mark of Srivatsa, a curl of white hair. The brilliant Kaustuva gem is suspended from his neck. Purport: the exact color of garment of the Supreme Lord is described as saffron yellow, just like the pollen of a lotus flower. The Kaustuva gem hanging on his chest is also described. His neck is beautifully decorated with jewels and pearls. The Lord is full in 6 opulences, one of which is wealth. He is very richly dressed with valuable jewels which are not visible within this mature world. So it's such a beautiful verse describing the different qualities and different elements of items which are adored in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But just to start off with, does anybody know what the 6 opulences are? The main 6 opulences? Of course, the Lord has unlimited opulences. But what are the 6 opulences that is referred to the Supreme Lord to show that he is Bhagavan? And one of them is there already. Anybody?
Beauty,
Yep.
renunciation,
Yep.
strength,
Yes.
beauty,
Wisdom.
wisdom, yeah,
Wisdom.
knowledge.
Are you famous, Mataji?
Sorry, Mahaprabhuji?
Are you famous?
Oh,
Fame.
oh yeah.
Okay. Strength, fame, beauty, opulence, renunciation, wisdom. So that was strength, fame, beauty, opulence, renunciation, and wisdom. I think you got 5 out of 6 right. So thank you, Mataji. So these are the wonderful opulences of the Supreme Lord. And in this case, it actually mentions about his opulence in the form of wealth. Now, does anybody know what the Srivatsa item mark is? The mark of Srivatsa, curl of white hair. Does anybody know what that refers to? And how did it come about? Okay, just for time. Does anybody want to read this? Shriji Kishori Mataji? Okay. Srivatsa is a unique curl of hair of the Lord's chest. It is the emblem of the goddess of fortune. It is described as a golden curl or white curl at different places. Dvapare Bhagavasyama Pita Vasa Nija Yuda Srivatsa Dibya Krishna Lakshane Upa Lakshitaha. Now the incarnation of God in the Dwapara Yuga is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with Pita Vasa Nija Yuda. He has got his own will, his instrument, and has many signs on his chest. Srivatsa Dibihi. Krishna was accepted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By signs also, there are many signs on the soul, underneath the soul. There are many signs on his chest. Another characteristics of Krishna, incarnation of Krishna's presence. They are described in the Sastras, the scriptures. So learned men, sages, they understood that here is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 5, 27. Srivatsa is a curl of white hair on the chest of the Lord, which is a special sign of his being the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Vankataloka or in Goloka Vrindavan, the inhabitants are exactly the same form as the Personality of Godhead. But by the Srivatsa mark on the chest of the Lord, he is distinguished from all others. Okay, so this is quite important. In Vankataloka and Goloka Vrindavan, the inhabitants are exactly the same form as the Personality of Godhead. But by the Srivatsa mark on his chest, but the Lord is distinguished from all others. The Lord is further described as having the mark of Srivatsa, or sitting place of the goddess of fortune, and his bodily hue is deep bluish. The Lord is a person. He wears a garland of flowers, and he is eternally manifest with 4 hands, which hold, beginning from the lower left hand, and conch shell, wheel, club, and lotus flower. From Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4.8.47. I just want to check. Okay, I'll just carry on a little bit. I was hoping that it'll actually explain how the mark actually came about. In Vankataloka, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has 4 hands and decorations like the Srivatsa mark on his chest, and the gem known as Kaustuba. These are special indications of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord's personal attendants and other devotees of Vaikuntha have the same features, except for the Srivatsa mark and the Kaustuba gem. From Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, 9.29 to 30. The Srivatsa mark is described by the Vaishnava Tosani as being a curl of fine yellow hair on the upper portion of the right side of Lord Vishnu's chest. This mark is not for ordinary devotees. It is a special mark of Vishnu or Krishna from the Srimad Bhagavatam. On Krishna's chest are ornaments of Srivatsa and the mark indicating the residence of the goddess of fortune. His chest, which is as broad as plunders, attracts thousands upon thousands of damsels of Vraja, conquering their minds and breasts by force. Thus they all become maidservants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I was actually hoping, let's just see if it has, why Srivatsa mark on the chest of Vishnu? Okay, maybe here it is. Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, has complete knowledge of Krishna's opulence, but she could not achieve the association of Krishna by dint of such knowledge. The devotees of Vrindavan, however, actually enjoy the association of Krishna. Chaitanya Charitamrita Chalila 7.29. When Lord Shri Krishna was dancing with the gopis in the Rasa Leela, the gopis were embraced around the neck by the Lord's arms. The transcendental favor was never bestowed upon the goddess of fortune or the other consorts in the spiritual world, nor was such a thing ever imagined by the most beautiful girls of the heavenly planets, girls whose bodily luster and aroma resemble the beauty, fragrance of a lotus flowers. And what to speak of worldly women, who may be very, very beautiful according to material estimation, from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam. So I'm just trying to see if it's got further information. Okay, maybe I picked the wrong, not really the wrong, but I was hoping to get the specific explanation. But anyway, the mark of the Srivatsa is actually representing the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi, who's lying on the chest of Lord Vishnu himself, Lord Krishna himself. And it's a significant mark that shows you Lakshmi Devi's good fortune of being association with the Supreme Lord, because she was not able to attend the rasa dance at all. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention was, it mentions about the Kaustuba gem, Kaustuba gem. Now, does anybody know where the Kaustuba gem comes from? Okay, just for time, I'll just read this. The gem known as Kaustuba was also generated during the journey of the ocean of milk. And Lord Vishnu took that gem and placed it on his chest. Thereafter, Parija, the flower, and the Apsaras, the most beautiful woman in the universe, were generated. Okay. Okay, there's different explanations, because there's also another explanation where the Kaustuba gem was actually given by the wives of Kaliya after Kaliya was defeated by Lord Krishna himself in the banks of the Yamuna, because due to its poisonous effects, all the different living entities that drank the water from the Yamuna became unconscious, and Krishna had to punish Kaliya for his offense of polluting the Yamuna river. And when he was actually defeated by little Krishna, the wives of Kaliya actually came and asked for forgiveness to Lord Krishna, asked forgiveness for their husband Kaliya. And in doing so, that it mentions that they also gave the Kaustuba gem to Lord Krishna. So there's different meanings behind it. So here it mentions that the Kaustuba gem was also generated during the churning of the ocean by the Mandara Mountain, which was lying on the top of Kurmadev, the turtle incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Okay, text 15. Just check. Yep, 15. Could I read? Mata Dvivi Repa Kalaya Paritam Vanamalaya Paradya Hravalaya Kiritangada Nipunam. Translation. He also wears around the neck a garland of attractive silver flowers, the swarm of bees, intoxicated by its delicious fragrance. Arms about the garland, he is further superbly adorned with a pearl necklace, crown and pairs of armlets, bracelets and anklets. Purport. From this description, it appears that the flower garland of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is fresh. Actually, in Vaikuntha, or the spiritual sky, there is nothing but freshness. Even the flowers picked from the trees and plants remain fresh. For everything in the spiritual sky retains its originality and does not fade. The fragrance of the flowers picked from the trees and made into garlands does not fade, for both the trees and the flowers are spiritual. When the flowers is taken from the tree, it remains the same. It does not lose its aroma. The bees are equally attracted to the flowers, whether they are on the garland or on the trees. The significance of spirituality is that everything is eternal and inexhaustible. Everything taken from everything remains everything. Or, as it's been stated in the spiritual world, 1 minus 1 equals 1. 1 plus 1 equals 1. The bees hum around the fresh flowers. The sweet sound is enjoyed by the Lord. The Lord's bangles, necklace, crown, and anklets are all bedecked with valuable jewels. Since the jewels of pearls are spiritual, there's no material calculation of their value. So can you imagine the beautiful description of the Lord? Have you seen any other descriptions of any personality from any other religion? How beautiful the Lord looks, his beautiful eyes, his beautiful smile, his lotus nose, his ears, all the garlands, the beautiful fragrance of the garlands that never fades at all. When we actually buy flowers from the supermarket, it just fades away within 10 days. There's no fragrance into the flowers nowadays at all. And the bees are always attracted by the flowers all the time. And can you imagine the quality of the honey that's emanated by taking the nectar of these flowers? Can you imagine? It's like, it'd be like drinking honey, which give you a life of immortality as well. But here, it actually explains the beautiful description of the Lord. Everything that he wears, he's not just an ordinary person. It's just not a light. It's not just an energy. He's not just like some sort of force, like in Star Wars, may the force be with you. He is a person. He is the Supreme Lord. He is a living entity as well, but a spiritual living entity. We're all living entities. We're all part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. We have all the qualities of the Supreme Lord, as we mentioned earlier on. Fame, strength, beauty, opulence, renunciation, wisdom. But the qualities we have is like a tiny grain of sand compared to the mighty desert. It's completely incomparable at all. But here, the beautiful verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it describes the beautiful features of the Supreme Lord, describing his lotus feet, describing his beautiful thighs, his waist, his chest, his arms, his beautiful face, his curly hair. Everything about him, when we look at our mirror, we think, gosh, what ugly guy I am. But when you hear about the description of the Supreme Lord, oh my goodness, so beautiful, isn't it? And allows you to meditate on these wonderful qualities of the Supreme Lord, because our mind is always wandering everywhere. So in one of the previous verses, Prabhupada mentioned about that the mind is just always full of different thoughts all the time. And we often quote that particular verse from the Bhagavad Gita. For the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong. Krishna, to subdue it is more difficult than controlling the wind. But what does Krishna say? Wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. For one who can control the mind is the best of friends. But for one who has failed to do so, the mind is his greatest enemy. So it just shows you the mind, the memory, the intelligence within our mind itself is constantly thinking about so many things. But if we think about these beautiful descriptions of the Lord, his beautiful face, his beautiful eyes, his beautiful lotus smile, as I mentioned earlier on about his lotus feet, they represent like thunderbolts, which actually disintegrate or extinguish all the mountains of sins that accumulate in our mind all the time. Verse 16, Kanche kanola shak chakronim hridayamboja vistaram dashanayata mam shantam manodaya navardhanam. Translation, his loins and hips encircled by a girdle stands at the lotus of his devotee's heart. He is most charming to look at, and his serene aspect gladdens the eyes and souls of the devotees who behold him. Purport, the word dashanayata Dashaniyatmam, which is used in this verse, means that the Lord is so beautiful that the devotee yogi does not wish to see anything else. Now, can you imagine that the Lord is so beautiful that the devotee yogi does not wish to see anything else? Now, if you were in today's class by Yamuna Maharaj again, what he was describing about the gopis' love for Krishna, they were actually cursing, or I don't know if they used the word cursing, but they were just complaining about Lord Brahma, about the defect of their body. And that defect was that they are not able to see Krishna 100% all the time. Why? Because their eyes blink. And during that moment, even though it's a second of a second of a second, thousandth of a second, so fast, they're still saying that that actually hinders that ability to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So now, can you imagine how beautiful the Lord is, that they don't want to take their eyes off the Supreme Lord? Now, I remember one story I read in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. I can't recall which personality he was referring to, but Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was just mentioning to a particular one of the associates that he asked him, "Did you see Lord Jagannath today at the temple?" And he said, "Yes." And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Yes, but did you see him all the time?" And that particular associate said, "I did see him all the time." But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "No, you did not, because if you did, then you wouldn't have circumambulated the Supreme Lord 3 times. Now, of course, we all know that we all have to circumambulate the Lord. Specific temples in India, especially, they design the altar in such a way that you can walk around the back of the deity altar as well. Here at Bhaktivedanta Manor, we tend to do a parikrama around the temple itself 3 or 4 times, depending on how you feel. But here, that particular associate, because he had walked around the altar of Lord Jagannath, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "No, you did not see Lord Jagannath completely the whole time when you were there. You actually took time to go around the altar, so you missed that opportunity to see Lord Jagannath." So we have to remember that when we're at the temple, when the deities, the curtains open, many people, what do? They want to get their mobile phones, they want to take their pictures of the Lord, they want to chit-chat, they want to talk, they want to still carry on with the japa. But actually, when the Govinda, the Mama Samhita prayers are going on, we should be just thinking about the Supreme Lord. We should be thinking, my dear Lord, may that beautiful manifestation of this supreme features of how you look today, your beautiful dress, your beautiful smile, your beautiful eyes, may that always be manifested in my heart forever and ever. Just like in the prayers of the Damodar Ashtakam, when the great sage, who wrote the particular poem, made this manifestation of the pastime of the Damodar Leela always be manifested in my heart. That's what we want to do. We want to imprint that vision in our heart all the time. When you close your eyes, we have this imaginary projector where our thoughts are projected across, and we have hundreds and hundreds of thoughts, revolving around like an iPad. You're just scrolling from one picture to another picture. But if we could just fix that image of the Supreme Lord in our heart, the moment we wake up, the moment we getting changed, getting ready, having our breakfast, going to work, getting in the car, speaking to our friends, colleagues, neighbors, we try to see the Super Soul. We see the beautiful lordships, Radha Gokulananda, Radha Landeshwara in their heart all the time. Then so much time and our thoughts actually become purified, and those senses or the desires for such objects slowly diminish. And we have to just be careful, because when we do actually do that in such a way, we also have to be careful not to allow those unwanted thoughts to come back in our mind again. Text 17, this is the last verse. Apichada Shadam Sasvat Savaloka Namaskritam Santavaya Sekaishore Pichanugrahakataram. Translation: the Lord is eternally very beautiful, and he is worshipable by all the inhabitants of every planet. He is ever youthful and always eager to bestow his blessings upon his devotees. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, the word Savaloka Namaskritam means that he is worshipable by everyone on every planet. So it doesn't matter if you're a new devotee, a sort of a devotee in your sort of a journey to your spiritual life, a senior devotee, a Paramahamsa. Everybody's entitled to worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There's no restrictions at all. And Krishna is so merciful. he actually mentions in the Bhagavad Gita, even if one commits the most abominable action, is considered a saintly person because he's properly situated in his determination. But of course, it's so important to read the purport to that particular verse of the Bhagavad Gita where Krishna is mentioned in that particular phrase, that it's not just like a license for you to commit sinful activities again and again. There should be a feeling of guilt. There should be a feeling of remorse, repent within your heart when you've done something wrong, when you've offended somebody, when you've actually thought about eating food before it's offered to Krishna, like me. So many things that was come in our mind all the time, but we don't realize it. But that's why we do. Krishna is so merciful, allows us to do Tulsi worship, Tulsi puja. When we circumambulate Tulsi puja, we actually free ourselves, even the killing of a brahmana as well. So it's so important to remember that. So it's worshipable by everyone on every planet. There are innumerable planets in the material world and innumerable planets in the spiritual world as well. On each planet, there are innumerable planets who worship the Lord. For the Lord is worshipable by all but the impersonalists. So that's important to understand. We're not impersonalists, we're personalists because Krishna is a person, is our dearmost friend. He's the goal, the sustainer, the master, the witness, the abode, the refuge, the dearmost friend. We all want a dearmost friend, don't we? We always want somebody that we could talk to confidentially. We want somebody as a good friend where we can have a shoulder to cry on. We want a good friend to slap us when we've done something wrong. In every way, we always relied on Krishna. Because he's our dearest friend, he is also the basis of creation and the annihilation. He's the basis of everything, the eternal seed and the resting place. So Krishna is the resting place. So we have to just remember, we're not impersonalists, we are personalists. Pray to Krishna. Krishna, I'm having this issue. Krishna, help me advance in my spiritual life. Krishna, how can I feel more attracted by reading these beautiful purports, which I can't really feel any taste for it? How can I relish my chanting the holy name? How can I relish that devotion I'm cooking for you and not for myself? How can I serve the devotees? How can I serve the cows? How can I improve my spiritual journey? I just want to feel that taste of love that the gopis feel for you as well. The Supreme Lord is very beautiful. Who's very beautiful? The Supreme Lord is. The word Sasvat is significant. It's not that he appears beautiful to the devotees, but is ultimately impersonal. Ultimately impersonal. Sasvat means ever existent. That beauty is not temporary. It is ever existing. It is always youthful. In the Brahma Samhita 533, it is also stated, Advaita Machuta Manandi Mananta Rupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha. He is one without a second. Yet although he is the original person, he never appears old. He always appears as an ever fresh blooming youth. So can you imagine this description of the Supreme Lord? It's so beautiful. Now, all of us, we do go for our general walks outside. We see the beautiful scenery, the beautiful trees, the flowers blossoming, the beautiful variety of flowers, fruits, vegetables, different kind of herbs, different kind of plants, everything around us, even the formation of the clouds in the sky, the sunlight, the moonlight, the beautiful breeze. So that particular verse from the Bhagavad Gita comes up to my mind. Know that of all opulent and beautiful and glorious creations spring but from a spark of my splendor. So the little tiny spark of a splendor this mighty universe has created allows us to see with our own eyes that beauty, all representing Krishna, is only a fragmental part of him. Just like when you see a massive fire and you see sparks coming out, that spark is compared to this beautiful universe that the Supreme Lord has provided for us in all opulence, beauty, and know that of all opulent beauty and glorious creations spring but from a spark of my splendor. The Lord's facial expression always indicates that he is ready to show favor and benediction to the devotees. For the non-devotees, however, he is silent. I just wonder why Krishna is always silent with me. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, although he acts equally to everyone because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because all living entities are his sons, is especially inclined to those engaged in devotional service. The same fact is confirmed here. He is always anxious to show favor to the devotees, Just as the devotees are always eager to render service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord is also very eager to bestow benediction upon the pure devotees. So there's that verse where Krishna says that I know nobody except for Krishna, my devotees who are in my heart. The devotees know nobody else except for Krishna also resides in their hearts as well. So I do ask for forgiveness because just 10 minutes before this class, I realized I was making notes on the wrong verses, which is supposed to be for next Sunday. So if I made any mistakes, please forgive me. And if there's any comments or questions, anything else anybody wants to add on, any reflections, any realizations before we go on to the bhajans?
Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, Yogesh Prabhuji. Just a quick one, Prabhuji. I think you, in your rush, you must have mixed up the stories between the Kastuba and the Samantaka.
Yeah.
The wives of Kaliya gave the Samantaka, not the Kastuba.
Oh, sorry, the wives of Kaliya?
It's the Samantaka jewel is a different jewel.
Oh, right, okay. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Yes, it wasn't actually on this, but I recall reading something like that. But yes, thank you for that correction, Shailesh Prabhu. It's a Shamantaka jewel that was given by the wives of Kaliya to Krishna. Thank you. Anything else?
Prabhuji, the Samantaka jewel was given to Krishna by the father of, what's her name, the second wife of Krishna, Satyabhama. By Satyajit, King Satyajit gave the jewel, the Samantaka. And,
there is that story as well, but I also read somewhere that was also by Kaliya, but anyway, I may be wrong. Okay, what I'll do, I'll just do a bit more research on that as well and just clarify for next week. Thank you, everyone. Jai Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai all glories to the Vaishnavas.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for the very nice class. Thank you so much, as always. So, Prabhuji, for the bhajan, I would appreciate if you could share the lyrics of the bhajan, please. Is that possible? If you could share the lyrics, which is for Udilo Aruna Puraba Bhage. And whilst you're doing that, I'll just make the announcement. Tonight's bhajan singer is our very dear Jay Mataji, who will be singing the beautiful bhajan. And I don't think Diljit is there to read the English translation. So in his place, I'll read the English translation before Mataji sings the beautiful bhajan. Udilo Aruna.
We can just search for Udilo. Yeah, KK songs. Yeah.
Sorry, I did realize I was on mute. I was trying to find the verse, but anyway, it's here there.
Yes, it's here. Thank you so much. Translation. When the rising sun appeared in the east, the jewel of the twice-born, Lord Gaurasundara, awakened, and taking his devotees with him, he went all over the countryside, towns and villages. The Maradhangas, Ghol, resounded Tathai, Tathai, and the jhanja, large metal kartalas that look like small cymbals in that kirtana played in time, Lord Gauranga's golden form slightly trembled in ecstatic love of Godhead, and his foot bells jingled. All the devotees chanted the names Mukunda, Madhava, Yadava, and Hari, their mouths being filled with the vibrations. They would announce to the still sleeping people, "You spend your nights uselessly sleeping and your days decorating your bodies. You have achieved such a rare human body, but you do not care for this gift. You remain not serving the darling of Yashoda and slowly fall through your last moments to death. With every rising and setting of the sun, a day passes and is lost. Then, why do you remain idle and not serve the Lord of the heart? This temporary life is full of various miseries. Take shelter of the holy name as your only business. To penetrate the darkness of ignorance and bless everyone's heart, the holy name has risen like the shining sun. Drink the pure nectar of the holy name of Krishna. There is nothing but the name to be had in the 14 worlds. It has filled the soul of Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakura. Hare Krishna. Over to you, Jai Mataji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. I will attempt this. It's my first time. Udilo aruno purabo bhage Dvijamoni gora moni jage Udilo aruno purabo bhage Dvijamoni gora moni jage Bhagata samuha loe sathe Gela nagara braje Bhagata samuha loya shathe Gela nagaro braje Tathai tathai bajolo khol Gana gana tae jaje rol Tathai tathai bajolo khol Gana gana tae jaje rol Prema dhalo dhalo shonaro ango Charane nupuro baje Preme dhalo dhalo shonaro ango Charane nupuro baje Udilo aruno purabo bhage Dvijamoni gora moni jage Mukunda Madhava Jadava Hari Bole na bolo re vadana bori Mukunda Madhava Jadava Hari Bole na bolo re vadana bori Mishe nido bashe gelo re roti Divo shariro sha aje Mishe nido bashe gelo re roti Divo shariro sha je Udilo aruno purabo bhage Dvijamani gora muni jage Mono durlabha manava deho Paya ki koro bhavana ke ho Mona durlabha manava deho Paya ki karo bhavana ke ho Ebe no bhajile যশোদাসুত চরণে পরিবে লাজে। এবে না ভজিলে যশোদাসুত চরণে পরিবে লাজে। উদিল অরুণ পূরব ভাগে দ্বিজমণি গোরা অমনি জাগে। উদিত তাপন হইলে আষ্ট দিন গেল বলি হইবে ব্যস্ত। উদিত তাপন হইলে আষ্ট দিন গেল বলি হইবে ব্যস্ত। তবে কেন এবে আলস্য হই না ভজ হৃদয় রাজে। তবে কেন এবে আলস্য হই না ভজ হৃদয় রাজে। জীবন নিত্য জনঃ সার তাহে নানাবিধ বিপদ ভার। জীবন নিত্য জনঃ সার তাহে নানাবিধ বিপদ ভার। নাম শ্রয়া করি যতনে তুমি থাকো না আপন কাজে। নাম শ্রয়া করি যতনে তুমি থাকো আপন কাজে। উদিল অরুণ পূরব ভাগে দ্বিজমণি গরা মুনি জাগে। জীবের কল্যাণ সাধন কাম জগতে আসিয়ে মধুর নাম। জীবের কল্যাণ সাধন কাম জগতে আসিয়ে মধুর নাম। অবিদ্যাতি মির তপন রূপে হৃদ গগন বিরাজে। অবিদ্যাতি মির তপন রূপে হৃদ গগন বিরাজে। কৃষ্ণ নাম সুধা করিও পান জুড়াও ভগতি বিনোদ প্রাণ। কৃষ্ণ নাম সুধা করিও পান জুড়াও ভগতি বিনোদ প্রাণ। নাম বিনা কিছু নাহি কো আর 14 ভুবন মাঝে। নাম বিনা কিছু নাহি কো আর 14 ভুবন মাঝে। উদিল অরুণ পূরব ভাগে দ্বিজমণি গোরা অমনি জাগে। ভগত সমূহ লইয়া সাথে গেল অনাগার ব্রাজে। ভগত সমূহ লইয়া সাথে গেল নাগারা ব্রাজে। হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে। হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে। হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে। হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে। হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে। Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sorry for my mistakes. Please forgive me. Thank you so much.
Hari Bol Mataji, so beautifully sung. Thank you very much. Thank
Hari
you, Hare
Bol,
Krishna.
Jai Mataji, Hari Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. Now I would expect that to be done on our regular singing platform. You know where. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mataji. So beautifully sung and beautifully recited for the English as well, Sriji Kishore Mataji. Thank you. Any other announcements? Oh, okay. Thank you, everyone. Please say some of my sisters. All glories to Sri Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Bhakti
Jai.
Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Vancha
Kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.